Hey y'all, it's just Jennifer. Thank you for joining me for another Book Talk Tuesday. Today's is going to be a little bit quick. I didn't get a whole lot of reading done in the past week, but I am excited to share with you what I have read because I've read some really good Christmas books that you might like, especially if you're in the mood for that sort of thing right now, because we've got just a little over a week left, and I don't know about you, but I'm really excited. So I'll start with one that I finished today, actually. And it's a love-inspired suspense. I know I've talked a lot about love-inspired books, and one of the reasons I love them is they don't take a lot of time to read. I started this last night just because I needed some downtime and I needed to let my mind unwind and not think about my to-do list for a while. And I only had like a little bit left of it today, so I managed to snag some time during nap time to just finish it off so that I could talk to you about it tonight because it was really good, and so I wanted to share it with you, especially since I'm not going to be doing one of these next week. Since next week is the week of Christmas, I'm going to take the week off. It is set around Christmas. It starts, I think, on the 22nd of December, and it finishes on Christmas Eve, I think, if I'm remembering this correctly. I know that's crazy considering that I just finished reading it today, but there's so much that happens. And the author, Maggie K. Black, I read another one of her books, and I think it was on Kindle Unlimited, and I want to say it was something like Christmas Undercover or Holiday Undercover. And it was part of a series where people who were in the witness security program had their identities hacked, and someone was threatening to reveal their locations for a price, and it was really good. And so when I saw this one in my library, I went ahead and grabbed it because I knew it was probably going to be good too, and it was. She does a really good job of grabbing your attention and keeping it. She has a great pacing. All the twists and turns make sense. She's not just throwing things at you. It actually has to do with the plot and pushes the plot forward, which I like. And basically what it's about is a detective witnesses a hostage situation, and it all has to do with this new drug that's going around. And the man who's actually been taken hostage is an undercover agent that she's worked with in the past. And he is undercover trying to find out who's manufacturing this drug. And so they end up working together to try to find the culprit. And it was really good. So this was called Undercover Holiday Fiancee. You might be lucky enough, like I did, to find it in your library, but it came out in 2017. So if you can't find it in your library or like a used bookstore, you should be able to find it on Amazon for your Kindle. So that's the first one. The other three were on Kindle. And so I'm not going to show you a picture because it's not going to show out really well. But the first one was One Royal Christmas by Melissa Tagg. I love Melissa Tagg, y'all. She writes these wonderful small town romances. They're kind of like a Hallmark movie, but they're not like uber cheesy. And they're just full of charm, and I don't know another word to say, but charm, and they're lovely. One Royal Christmas is a novella, and it is about a fictional king of a fictional kingdom who comes to this town in America called Tinsel that has a media ban. And there's actually a story why they have a media ban. It was really interesting. But he comes to America just for like a little bit of a vacation, and he meets a librarian named Rowan. And one of the reasons why I loved this novella is because the hero was a bookworm. And I love bookish characters. They're wonderful. But like I said, Melissa Tagg is just really good about putting that charm in there. She draws you in, and she makes you love these characters, and you want what's best for them, and you want to know what's going to happen. And they're just really good, and there's always a great spiritual arc and a takeaway, which I love. Another one I read was An Old-Fashioned Texas Christmas by Witemeyer. And it is a novella collection as well. It's got two novellas in it. One of them, I think it was called Gift of the Heart or something like that. It's also in the Christmas Heirloom collection. So if you've read the Christmas Heirloom collection, you've read that novella. The other novella is part of her Archer Family series. And that's one of the things that got me reading Karen Witemeyer was her Archer Family series. The first book I ever read by her was The Short Straw Bride, which was really good. It's a marriage of convenience story. And I fell in love with these 4 brothers. And 2 of them get their own book. One of them gets a novella. And the other one is just kind of like a subplot character that you don't get to see his POV. But him and his wife are the star of this Christmas novella. And it's really sweet. And I don't want to say much more about it because it's so short. And I'm afraid that I'll accidentally give something away. But you kind of get to see what they're up to. You meet the new additions to the families, the children that they've had and raised, and there's this really sweet story for Cassie and Jim, which I just loved, and I highly recommend that one. And then the last book I read, I got to read a copy of A Castaway in Cornwall by Julie Klassen. It is a Regency romance set in, you guessed it, Cornwall. It was really good. It was about this woman who is an orphan, and she's living with her uncle by marriage and his family. And there's this castaway that survives a shipwreck, and they're nursing him, and she becomes attached to him, but he has a secret that may get him into a little bit of trouble. So you got a little bit of intrigue, you got some romance, and then there's also a great spiritual arc, because I don't want to give away too much, but who you think is the castaway is not who you think is the castaway. And I'm just going to leave it there. But it was really good. It was filled with some great characters. It definitely left you with some questions about what's right and what's wrong, immorality, and things like that, which I really loved. There were some characters I didn't like so much at the beginning that I really came to appreciate by the end, and seeing their transformation was really great. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I will have a review up for that on Friday. So you can look for that about noon to get a little bit more information on that. Julie Klassen writes these really great Regency romances. And there's some of them that take me a little bit to get into. And this was one of them. This took me a few chapters. But when I get into it, I'm into it. And I want to know what's going to happen to these characters. And I want to follow through. So if you love Regency romances, I highly recommend Julie Klassen if you haven't read her yet. So that's all I've got today. I'm not going to show you my TBR pile because it's pretty much the same books that have been on my TBR pile. I haven't read them all yet because I keep finding all these books on Kindle Unlimited to read. I will show you the stack. I won't go into it. It's basically, there's like 4 more love-inspired suspense and then a regular love-inspired romance. So I'm very excited about that. And I will let you know the week after Christmas what I've gotten to read and what I enjoy. So thank you again for joining me today, and I hope that y'all have a great